goodness. Wow. Very convenient.
Yeah. What are they?
Just pencil mics. They're just small.
I mean, what brand?
This one's a Rhodes, I think. So the first one, yeah, this is a Rhodes. Sennheiser makes them too.
Well, those are the nice ones. That's the real nice ones.
And then when do we do all that time? That's going to be the second show.
So I have drum mics. It's so rare that I have to bring them out. Because if I got to be mic, usually there's somebody doing it.
Right.
But I have a whole group.
And I have all the music.
We're going to do Bourbon Street first.
Huh?
We're going to do Bourbon Street first.
First. Okay. Do a street beat. Testing, 1, 2. Thank you. That was our rendition of Bourbon Street Parade. Thank you. Next, we're going to play a rendition of Auld Lang Syne, our piano player, excellent piano player, Dave Passerina. And I hope you like it. Nice stuff. Okay, next we'd like to play a song that is played often down in New Orleans. It's like a slow song that I'm sure you all will know what this is.
Thank
with me, my burden shares. None but thee, dear Lord, none but thee. So just a close walk with thee. Granted, Jesus is my plea. Only walking close to thee. Let it be, Lord, let it be. Yes.
Good morning, and welcome to our service at the Unitarian Society of Germantown. Excuse me. My name is Andrea Barsovic, and my pronouns are she and her. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, united in a common purpose to make love real in our lives and in the world. We are diverse in our beliefs, atheist and agnostic, believers and seekers, and we welcome you here, no matter what your race, your class, your gender, identity, your sexual orientation, your family structure, etc., etc., etc. No matter our differences, we know that we are a part of the interdependent web of life. If you are new here, whether this is your first, your fifth, or your 15th visit, we invite you to introduce yourself to someone at the welcome table right over here, and they would be happy to answer your questions. Any questions that you have about this congregation or about Unitarian Universalism. Please complete a visitor card and join us for fellowship in the dining room following the service. And we have plenty of food today, so you're a very special welcome to the fellowship hour. Our senior minister is Reverend Hannah Capaldi, who is out on parental leave now until February, so that she can enjoy baby Carmen, who was born on November 27th, and along with her big sister Tony. Gender-neutral restrooms can be found at the bottom of the stairs in the back of the sanctuary, and gendered restrooms are through the door and down the hall. Please feel free to use whichever feels right to you. Our announcements for today. At noon in the Sullivan Chapel, the Feminist Theology Group will treat us to an interesting presentation. The author of Who Told You That You Were Naked is the Reverend Beverly Dale, and she is here today to share her thought-provoking revisions to negative religious teaching about our sexual bodies. Next Sunday, you are invited to greet the day with a 90-minute sit, a meditation starting at 8 a.m., led by Springboard Sanga's lead teacher, Brian Arnell. The session will include a Dharma talk, dialogue, and quiet meditation. Because of our special program today, we will not be including our usual joys and sorrows, but we want to lift up a key member of USG's caring team, the team that makes sure USG has our backs. That person is Sarah West. Sarah has been a caring team leader for many years. She has now decided to step down because of her declining health. Most of the congregation has been touched by Sarah's efforts over the many years of her service. Thank you, Sarah. Our lives and our hearts are better because of you. Sarah, you have helped light the way forward. And now I invite Sarah Linmont and her crew up for a special announcement about Martin Luther King Day of Sin.
Hello?
Hi, I'm Works. There's a lot of feet out there who needs me.
We're here for you, Warmth. USG's MLK Day of Service is collecting 500 new pairs of women's and men's warm socks.
This book was a gift, but if we always, or do we have it?
Should we donate this book to others in need?
Yes!
We're also collecting 100 new and gently used children's books. Look for the MLK bin in the dining room for your sock and book drop-off now through January 20th.
Thank you.
Our senior minister is Reverend Hannah Capaldi, who's on parental leave, as I said earlier. In her absence, she has arranged for a mix of voices to be in the pulpit. Today's service will be led by our Director of Music Ministries, Stern Matthews, and we are pleased to welcome the Barbone Street Band. The band was started in 1990 when Steve Barbone was thinking of retiring from his day job to get back to music that he played in college and with bands in the 1940s and 1950s. Slowly but surely, the band did more and more gigs, which prompted Steve to retire completely in 1999 and go back to music full-time. Band members are all professionals who share a vision of New Orleans jazz that includes collective improvisation as well as soloing. They have become one of the top New Orleans jazz bands in the U.S., playing locally and at jazz festivals across the country and overseas. Individual members of the band have performed with some of the top jazz musicians in the world. Please join me in welcoming the Barbone Street Jazz Band.
Good morning. My name is Stearns Matthews. I am your Director of Music Ministries. My pronouns are he, him, and I have never been happier not to have to do any music on a Sunday morning. We are so happy you guys are here. Our call to worship this morning is titled, "This Was the Year That Was Not the Year," by Brian Bilston. This was the year that was not the year I repaired the bathroom tap and emptied out the kitchen drawer of a lifetime's worth of crap. This was the year that was not the year in which I launched a new career. A West End hit eluded me, and so did Time Person of the Year. This was the year that was not the year I became a household name. Action figures were not sold of me. I was not made a dame. This was the year that was not the year I spent less time on my phone. Nights of passion did not happen in boutique hotels in Rome. This was the year that was the year I didn't get that much done. Much the same as the year before, much like the one to come.
Our chalice will be lit this morning by Caitlin Stormont. Please join me in the unison words printed in your order of service. We light this chalice, the beacon that calls us to love, to justice, to a deepening of the spirit. And now we'll hear from the band with Look Down That Lonesome Road.
The saying, everything happens for a reason, has always rubbed me the wrong way. Sure, it's conveniently comforting to be able to make lemonade out of lemons. Not getting that job you wanted turns out to be a blessing in disguise because a better one comes along. You take a wrong turn on a road trip, only to stumble upon the most breathtaking view you've ever seen, and suddenly it's meant to be. Ergo, everything happens for a reason. For me, that doesn't fly. Through my Unitarian Universalist, agnostic, atheist, humanist-ish lens, the expression everything happens for a reason is too long. Everything happens. Period. For better or for worse. Sometimes there isn't a reason. This goes for good stuff and bad stuff, and often it's equally futile to make an attempt at figuring out why the universe does what it does. It just does. If it's good stuff, we usually don't try to console ourselves with a reason it happened. I got the job I wanted. Amazing. The reason must be because I'm amazing. Bad stuff? Well, yeah. Sometimes bad stuff happens for a reason. Your car breaks down and the tow truck driver turns out to be the love of your life, and everybody says, see, everything happens for a reason. If the car turns out to be totaled and the tow truck driver shows up and is not the love of your life, what's the reason that your car broke down? If you've ever given a eulogy at a funeral or a memorial service, you might know that the unfortunate thing is that if you're good at it, they ask you to do it again. Same goes for singing at funerals and memorial services. But imagine giving a eulogy for somebody you didn't really care for all that much. Imagine writing a eulogy for a person who always seemed like they were out to get you, always trying to get the better of you, to put you into awkward social situations, the friend who always has a backhanded compliment for you. They always seem to think they know better. Their behavior is erratic and toxic, and you can't ever seem to tell where you stand with them. Are they being genuine? What are their motives? You never quite know because this person is a master manipulator who knows all the same people you know. What gets said in that person's eulogy? Just for fun, I asked ChatGPT to write a eulogy for someone it didn't like very much. For our purposes, we'll call this person Joe. The eulogy began, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for gathering here today to remember Joe. Well, let's be honest. Most of us are here because we felt we had to be, not necessarily because we wanted to be." That's the beginning, and it ends with, "So here's to Joe, a person we might not miss but will certainly never forget. May they find the peace now they never quite managed to give the rest of us. Rest in whatever way suits you best, Joe. You were something." If you're interested in reading the full eulogy from ChatGPT, I'm happy to share it with you. Now, fortunately, ChatGPT is not a minister, and neither am I, but through my Unitarian Universalist, agnostic, atheist, humanist-ish lens, everyone has inherent worth and dignity. Even 2024. Inherent worth and dignity? Yes, of course. Did I like it? Hell no. I don't have to recount to you all of the big stuff, good or bad, that happened in 2024. And I'm definitely not here to tell you that everything good or bad happened for a reason. That would be ChatGPT's eulogy for the person it didn't like, mentioning all their faults, their betrayals, their sins, and we all have those, not just the person who's difficult. No, the things I invite you to reflect on in 2024, from 2024, are the smaller things. How many songs did you sing this year? How many times did you eat ice cream? For some of us, how many diapers did you change? These are the things that define your year because you lived with yourself for 366 days, leap year, and you're still here. Yeah. Through the big joys and small fails, and the ice cream and the haircuts and the dentist appointments and the traffic and the fellowship hours and the days you skipped going to the gym, and losses innumerable and grief unmeasurable, you made it. We made it. 2024 lived a full life, rich with wins, losses, lessons, arrivals, departures. I'd like to pause here to honor the members of USG who passed on this year, Barbara Bartlett on June 26th and Bob Brown on October 28th. And at this time, we'll take a brief moment of silence to honor all those who walked with us through part of 2024 and are no longer here. Feel free to speak their names aloud into the space, or just hold them in your heart, or just sit quietly. "2024, you held us in your embrace. You chewed us up and spit us back out again. You shocked us, moved us, aged us, brought us closer together, wedged us farther apart. We lay you to rest now in small pieces. The smiles, the songs, the laughter, the tears, the ice cream, the conflicts, sorrow, pain. We release you. Your work is done. You're free now." As we nudge 2024 out of the nest, so to speak, I invite you now to reflect on what you'd like to leave behind in the old year. It could be a regret, a fear, a habit, anything weighing you down. You should have an index card and a pencil, well, a sheet of paper and a pencil at your seat. If you don't have one, maybe we can raise hands and ushers can help us get some to people. Write down whatever that thing is on the card. You can write as many things as you want that will fit. Your thoughts will remain private. No one will read what you write. When you're ready, the band will play. Please come forward through the center aisle. Could somebody open the coffin for us? Details. When you're ready, please come forward through the center aisle. Drop your card into the coffin as a gesture of release, and you can return to your seat through the side aisles.
Just a little while to wait. Just a little while to labor in the path that's always straight. Oh, just a little moment of sorrow. Thank you.
So, 2025. 5 days down, 360 to go. So often we think of ourselves as the ones moving away from the old year, marching onward into 2025 and leaving 2024. But what if it's the other way around? Are we the ones moving on, or is it 2024? What if 2024 is the one leaving us? The old year isn't a mountain we've climbed, conquered, and moved on from. It's more like a hot air balloon that landed, stayed for a visit, and is now lifting off again. The year came, the year went. For a reason or not, everything happened. Like Mary Poppins, it only stayed until the wind changed. So as we bid farewell to 2024, I invite you to shift your perspective. Imagine not walking away from something, but instead watching it gently float away from us. And here we remain, together, grounded, present. This coffin, holding all that we're ready to let go, is our own hot air balloon, ready to carry our burdens off into the ether. As I prepared to write this section of the service, I found hopes for the new year to be a pretty difficult title to wrap my brain around. 2024 got a eulogy. It feels like the new year, being only 5 days old, deserves a welcome, a formal introduction, the way we bestow on other milestones like a graduation, a wedding, a child dedication. The new year needs a well-wishing. And so, here at 2024's commencement ceremony, I offer this charge to 2025. A charge is not a set of instructions, but rather a call to action and purpose and vision, a challenge and a blessing. 2025, I charge you to bring us opportunities for generosity, kindness, compassion. I charge you to laugh louder than your predecessor. I charge you to give us shocks of joy in unexpected moments. I charge you to dance. I charge you to bring help to people who need it. I charge you to imagine. I charge you to reimagine. I charge you to love fiercely. 2025, I charge you to stand tall among your ancestors. 1969 had its moon landing. 1989 had its falling walls. Find your moments of triumph. 2025, as you take your place in the grand procession of time, you arrive at a pivotal moment. Your predecessor, 2024, has handed off to you a world in transformation, where humanity finds itself in fragments, a jigsaw puzzle with too many pieces. I charge you to find the corners, then the edges, and take it from there. You'll know what to do.
that lucky day, you know darn well, baby, I can't give you anything but love. Come on now.
This morning, we share our plate with Food Moxie, also known as Weaver's Way Community Programs. Formed in Mount Airy in 2004, Food Moxie educates people to grow and prepare healthy foods. They partner with schools and organizations to offer experiential learning in gardening, farming, nutrition, and culinary arts to give people the skills and resources for a healthier world. Individual and community health increase when people make growing and cooking part of their lives. Please give generously, as we have found that the more we give away, the more comes our way. To give in cash or check, please drop it in the plate as the ushers pass by. To give by text, please follow the instructions on the back cover of your order of service.
world. Oh,
As we extinguish our chalice, please join me in unison with the words printed in your order of service. We extinguish our chalice, but the flame remains in us as we live into the mission of this congregation, building beloved community with compassion, service, and empowerment. And in the tradition of the New Orleans Jazz Funeral, we will end our service with a second line. The second line follows the band, and everyone in the community is invited to join in and wave handkerchiefs. Okay. And we're going to start with Walking to the King, followed by When the Saints Go Marching In.
Thank
marching in, when the saints go marching in. Oh Lord, I want to be in that number, when the saints go marching in. And when the sun refused to shine, and when the sun refused to shine, oh Lord, I want to be in that number, when the saints go marching in. When the moon turns red with blood, when the moon turns red with blood, oh Lord, I want to be in that number, when the saints go marching in. On that hallelujah day, on that hallelujah day, oh Lord, I want to be in that number, when the saints go marching in.
Thank you, Bone Street Jazz Band. Friends, I charge you to go into 2025 with optimism and joy and all the good things that I didn't write a benediction for. Thank you, Bone Street Jazz Band.